computer. Now we're going to go to YouTube.
Eileen Weber, Kabbalah Guru.
Whoops.
What happened?
They turned on a different video here. Turn my volume down. Okay.
Okay, it's coming down. It's almost there.
All right.
Okay, now this one. Okay, this one is okay. Good. All right, now I'm going to go to Zoom. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi,
You're,
yes, we're good. Okay, so it's Ellie. This is kind of an impromptu session. I wanted to introduce. Well, you all know that I'm, crazy about Gila, but I wanted to introduce my two favorite poskin. I don't know what I mean. Does that it? I don't know. How do you translate it? My two favorite theorists in the Patriot
There
world.
you go.
In other words, Colin, like if you had to say, who would you rather listen to? 107, SG or Colin? I would say it's a no-brainer, Colin. Because I really respect him, and for some reason, he vibrates with a certain frequency, and Gila also. I mean, and I'm not putting down 107 or SG. I'm just saying that like these are my two favorite like theorists, of note of at the moment, and so we just I'm kind of like mooching on these guys because they have a regular kind of thing. But I said, Gila, can I come in? I love Colin. I mean, he's just
we have a crush on you, Colin. We both of us.
I appreciate it, guys.
He's just so smart. He's smart. He's just like, he has a way of.
I'll tell you what it is. Colin is like this. He like distills down the most important point. He no BS, no extra. You know what I mean? He does it 40 minutes. He takes like 8 minutes to tell you the whole thing. He's like dense with information, cuts out all the fluff.
And he frames it I like the way he sort of frames it. He puts it into.
That's the best word.
Yeah.
Context. He puts a frame around the picture. And also he knows a lot about the galactic stuff because he's like in contact with them. So.
Okay. So, and he also has some crypto knowledge. So, okay. So without.
Oh, that's his best thing. Let's talk about Colin one more minute. Colin's best thing is that he really gets, like, talking about like this is how Jews like learn Torah. We go like this with our thumb. Like he gets the crypto. Yeah, you got it. He gets the crypto language. You like where I read along, pretend to understand. You actually understand what's going on in the financial world and can like teach others. So you're really like the triple threat. You're the galactic, you're the financial, and you're the Q. You get it all.
There you go. I appreciate that, guys. I do. I mean, I try to be succinct and, get my points across quickly. I am fairly guilty lately of not doing a lot. I haven't really made any posts. I've actually been very busy. As you guys know, I have a 3D job still. That's the only thing that has me rooted in 3D, at all anymore. But I do that because, I'm 35. I want to be able to invest in these assets, and I'm still building, a future financially. I'm not one of those people that feels like they can, just stop working and immediately transition to a 5D basis of income. Although I am doing that. I'm actually working with James Rink, who I don't know, maybe some folks out there know from the Super Soldier. He has the Super Soldier Talk on YouTube and Rumble. He's actually been around since 2008, and he's got a very good following. I'm actually doing meditative counseling, and I've got an advertisement up. I don't have the link handy, but it hasn't been marketed yet, but we did just build the site, and I'm going to be offering precognitive and clairvoyant readings through meditation one-on-one. And, that's kind of my way of transitioning. I mean, I'm not sure exactly, guys, how long it's going to take for these assets to really blossom, the ones that we're invested in. I do think we're going to see quite a bit of movement in 2023. I think we might see it early too. There's a lot of factors that play into that, and it's the hardest part right now is being able to frame the puzzle, find the pieces that, you know how you try to organize the pieces into certain areas where they look the same, and you have another corner over here do the same thing. That's kind of where we're at, and like you said, there's different avenues of or different facets of this awakening, and the QFS and the assets, the galactic aspect, it's just there can be a lot to put together. So yeah, I mean, I do my best to put it all together quickly. You wanted to talk about the crypto stuff first, the digital asset stuff? Okay, so
I'm just, tailing along for the ride.
okay, well, I just want to say, a guy this Ross Vandermeer guy, who's part of the XRP army, he's actually, I believe, to be an insider, came out the other day. He was the only one that did this, and said that when the SEC had their sunshine meeting, that they had settled the case, and that it was going to be announced in due time. And I think they obviously they need to time it right. But the reason I say early this year, I think it's actually real early this year. I think January, we're going to see an announcement that the case was either A, settled, or B, Ripple won. What's happening there right now is the SEC doesn't want the Bill Hinman Ethereum free pass emails to get out. And for those of you that aren't familiar with that, the SEC and Bill Hinman were part of the whole Ethereum Gate scandal, where they gave Ethereum a free pass on being a security when it clearly is a security. And they kind of just let it go without any scrutiny or, no court case, nothing like that. And they went after Ripple instead. And it's starting to bite them pretty hard right now. And it looks like the SEC is going to have to go after Ethereum. But during that whole ordeal, there was a speech and a set of emails that Bill Hinman had concocted, and they more or less proved his corruption in the whole ordeal. And in those emails, it also mentioned that he was clear that XRP or that Ethereum was a security, but he was allowing it to slide. So the SEC doesn't want those emails to get out, and I think it goes a lot deeper than that. So I think what we're going to see is the SEC just let it go, and they may just throw in the towel, because if you have in an email that can be released that says clearly XRP is not a security, but we're going to sue Ripple and try to delay these, because what's going on here, guys, is there's two ways to look at it. The U.S. government sues Ripple to slow them down so they can create their own version of XRP, right? That failed. B is the SEC and Ripple are in bed together, and they put on a kabuki show while they got the system ready for XRP, which is much more likely considering the nature of the kabuki theater that we're experiencing at this time. So yeah, that's more or less what I have to say about XRP. Look for something early January. I do think you're going to see a couple of different switches, though. I think there's a few switches to be flipped. There's the case, the ending of the case, and then there's the utility aspect of it. So the reason why ISO 20022 messaging standard, the reason why they have that standard and the assets that fall under that regulatory compliance, if you will, is because in order to have a data-rich environment where you're sending millions of transactions at a very high speed, you have to meet a certain messaging standard. And there's only a few assets that fall under that. You got your XRP, your XLM, your Algorand, your IOTA. Let's see, what did I miss? XDC, and there's a few others too, like Sologenic, which is on the XRP ledger, Corium. There's probably 8 or 9. Quant, and I want to say Chainlink, maybe. I might be wrong about that one. Hedera Hashgraph is one for sure. So these assets are part of the new system. All the other crypto, it's going to go away. You're going to see most of it either transfer its liquidity and volume into other assets like Stellar, other blockchains, or you're just going to see them fall apart completely. And that's coming soon. We're going to see literally a full collapse of the old system. It has to happen, and there can't be any.
Lose their money, Colin? Are they, sorry to interrupt you, but are people
No,
who
you're
are
fine.
holding other assets, when it gets funneled into the Stellar blockchain, they lose it, or they can reclaim what they had
No.
as it's gone?
Yeah. So if their holdings do get liquidated and transferred into another asset, this would happen on notice. So it wouldn't just be blindly happening. There would be notice of it. It just hasn't been made public. Like Pendulum is an example. I believe Pendulum is the one where Ethereum goes into the Stellar blockchain. So
So
what's
you're
that?
saying, I just want to clarify, you're saying that people will get notice to swap out from
Oh,
each
it'll
other?
just happen. It'll just happen. So like in the future, everybody's going to be required to utilize the Stellar blockchain
Right.
and the Ripple, the XRP chain as well, the XRP ledger. So because of that, everybody has to have an account that's linked into the Stellar blockchain. So these things happen, and the transfer, happens, and you're made whole on the other side. So that's
people are not going to, if they have Bitcoin or other things, they're not going to lose the money they invested in that. It's going to come out on the other side. They're going to. Is that
well, that's only if the holdings they have at that time on notice. If that's only if those holdings transfer over without the market crashing first. So they might lose their money in the market crash, but whatever's left, which is probably not much, will then be transferred. Because remember, it's about tokens. It's not about value yet. So these tokens that get moved over, there's probably going to be a ton of them. Like there's people that have hundreds of thousands of Bitcoins, when those Bitcoins, when they're worth like 5 cents, which I believe is going to happen at some point in the near future, those hundreds of thousands of Bitcoins have to transfer over, and then they're in the Stellar or the XRP ledger, and they get revalued with whatever asset it transfers into, which is likely to be Lumens or XRP. So, and also you got Flare Spark. We can't forget about Flare Spark. I think January 9th is when flare drops happen for the folks that had the XRP holdings in 2020. But that's going to be another highly liquid asset, flare, which is going to drop on, the drops are on the 9th. And I think the chain is fully live and ready to go at that point as well. So we got a lot coming up, and this is a good point. Well, actually, before I transition, I do want to mention that it's important. If I were you guys, download the Sologenic Dex on the App Store. SOLOGENIC Dex. Set up an account, transfer some XRP, and get some Sologenic ASAP. All right. Sologenic in 2023, I believe, is going to be worth a couple $100 a piece.
It's in the App Store?
Get it in the App Store. Yeah, it's the Sologenic Dex. You can buy Solo, Songbird, Corium, XBridge. There's a bunch of assets on the XRP ledger you can buy in there. Corium is going to be another important one to have. I currently am working on my holdings for Sologenic and Corium. And it's just a simple transfer of XRP, and then you trade your XRP for those tokens. How many
tokens are on the Dex, on the Solo Dex?
What's that?
How many tokens are there on the Solo?
There's definitely a few. I'm not exactly sure how many off the top of my head, but I do remember the names of a few, which I just mentioned, like XBridge and Song.
What are the top 3 that you would recommend to get?
Yeah, so Sologenic, Corium, and Songbird is probably going to be the third that you'd want to get. SGB. That's what I go with. And then I think it's important also to get some XDC, which is real cheap right now. It's like 2 cents.
Where do you go to get XDC?
I buy it on Uphold. You can get it on the Zinfin ledger. anywhere that it's supported. But I just use Uphold. I'm not sure of any other what the other exchanges are, unless you go direct through Zinfin. Just go to their site and then I would, if you can, get some IOTA, which you go to MIOTA, MIOTA.io or .com. I can't remember exactly which one, but that one's going to be important to have. And then Algorand. So those are the big cryptos, or let's call them digital assets. I'm a big proponent of changing the name of crypto to digital asset, kind of like Mel. It's important. It is because the word crypt, it refers to like being dead or in the crypt.
It's creepy.
Now, these words and terms, guys, they're not chosen on accident. These satanic bastards have inverted our reality almost in full, and some of our languages and the words that we use are they're almost spell casting, like they have negative energy attached to them. So we have to start changing these words somewhere.
Well, let me ask you, if I'm too lazy to get IOTA, and like, is it going to eventually be available on the Lobster?
It might be in a wrapped form.
Right.
I think it already is actually in a wrapped form, but it's not a big deal. Like as long as you have your XRP, your XLM, and then maybe grab some XDC, Sologenic, you'll be fine. I mean, we're talking about massive, massive wealth. We have to remember, we have to leave the old world behind, right? So the value of like the sum total of all the value in the world is what a lot of the XRP 1.0 army, that's kind of how they calculate the future of XRP's price, but you can't do it that way. You have to go off of the projected new world value. And also a lot of people tend to forget is you have to also issue the debt that goes along with some of these, like if you're adding volume through assets and doing back end settlement, you also have to settle debt on this ledger. So like you have to include the value of whatever the debt could be. Like let's say you add 100 trillion in cross-border payments, right? You might issue 500 million in debt as well. So like you have both sides of the coin there. Plus you have to consider you've got maybe, like maybe 4/10 of the world is unbanked right now. So everybody gets a Lobster wallet or a Scopuli wallet or whatever it might be. I think it's actually all going to move into Twitter, which is going to be the X, the everything app. I think that's what Elon's building out right now. It's going to be an exchange. It's going to be a YouTube. It's going to be a Twitter. It's going to be everything you want, right? And I think everything centralizes that way, but it decentralizes on the back end, right? So like some things are better centralized. Other things are not. Like government is not, it's not good to have a centralized government where all the localities and municipalities have to fall in line with a federal focal point. That's what's gotten us into trouble. So when we change our government structure, it's gotta be more local. It's gotta be more from the inside out rather than the outside in. So it's, and then like when you go to centralization, when you have like the everything app like X, where you can use it for everything, it's just a convenience factor. And then also we have to remember Elon's releasing his Q phones, and those are all ready to go.
When do you think that might happen?
2023. Absolutely. You remember when I told you about?
Yeah.
What's that? I was going to say, remember when I told you about how Starlink was going to have a shielding component to it, and then it came out and was announced that way? Same deal here with the Q phones in 2023. They may be called Pi phones. I'm not sure, but they're going to come out in 2023 for sure.
And how are they going to get them to the public? How are they going to distribute them?
I'm not sure exactly. I think everybody's probably they probably have like these centralized points where people come and they can pick one up. For those that can't, delivery service will drop one off. But it all connects to Starlink. You'll be able to turn that thing on and it'll be fully functional with Starlink and all the other centralization, which in this case we have to remember is a good thing, technologically speaking. government is decentralizing while technology is more centralizing, because we're everything's coming under the hood or the tutelage of a white hat government, right? So people are often scared about centralization because of the way the dark hats have acted. We have to remember they're being eliminated from the equation. So now you can say, okay, well, I trust in what the white hats are doing, and it's going to be on people like us to help those that aren't in the loop to understand that this is a good thing. You know, we're almost like being trained for when the day comes that we must do that. So, yeah, I mean,
Can I
we're
ask you a
looking at
question?
it. Yeah.
The current Starlink has like a monthly subscription, like $100 a month. You think that Starlink won't be like that? Like, it's not gonna-
You know, I think New World, it's going to be free.
yeah.
Yeah, I think, you know, when a lot of changes are coming, it's, you know, Starlink is going to more or less be a public utility, and it's going to be free, but it's got, you know, we have to remember the Starlink servers, the quantum computerized servers, or you know, whatever you want to call them. That's where our quantum financial system is going to exist. So our quantum financial system is going to be operating from above our heads rather than, you know, below our heads where dirty fingers can get into it. You know, we're gonna be in a real nice situation to push humanity forward, because we are hundreds of years behind in our development, thanks to the Orion Group and the Andromeda Syndicate, and you know, those that wanted to use us as slaves. So not only are we looking at you know, having a total revamp and healing of our genetics, we're also looking at prolonging our lives. So, you know, once these med beds comes out, which is going to be before 2025, I think it'll be in 2023 or late 23, early 24. You're going to be able to age regress yourself back to like maybe even 25 or 30, you know, and you'll be able to do that as many times as you want until you start damaging your genes, because eventually you do. When you go back enough times, you know, you can have genetic issues come up. And that's why if you have an avatar body or a you know, advanced clone created for yourself, when you're ready to retire a certain body, you can slip your consciousness into the next one that's an identical you, but just a fresh body. So I mean, you're going to have the ability to live basically forever if you want. You know, so I mean, there's going to be a lot of space stuff that, like, you know, when Space Force was enacted, a lot of people don't realize that what that was doing above us was pulling all of the secret space program vessels that were you know, different facets and factions of the SSP, pulling them all under one umbrella under the Space Force. So that's all, you know, more or less been done, you know.
Can I
The
just
the bad,
interrupt you a second,
yeah,
Colin?
go ahead.
I just had a thought come to me, a Jewish thought.
Sure.
So we talk about the resurrection of the dead, right? And we say in Judaism, there's a certain bone in the neck called the luz bone. And the luz bone, I just learned from reading some books, some Kabbalah books, that it holds the consciousness. And they say that we get resurrected, right, Guru, from this bone that holds the consciousness. So as you were explaining what you were explaining, I'm thinking, so if we take this bone that holds the consciousness and put it in the new avatar, you bring the people back to life. You can bring anybody back to life.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. That's the idea.
That could be resurrection.
That's amazing. That's an amazing thought, because they talk about the dew, like that Hashem will sprinkle a sort of dew on you and resurrect. You know, I never thought of that. That's beautiful, Gila.
Yeah, that's
How are they
100%
going to
true.
build the bodies back? How are they going to build the bodies back? If you have the consciousness,
All you need is, like, you know, okay, so here's the point with the bone, okay? It has DNA stored in the marrow, and bone density DNA doesn't degrade as fast as the other parts of the body. So when you pull DNA from the marrow, all you need is one little strand of DNA. And then you can build an entire
upgraded. That
body.
was a major upgrade. Whoa.
And
And
the lose,
marrow.
well, the lose is a bone, so
There's marrow there. There's a
it could
marrow
be,
space
and it
there.
could be encapsulated somehow. I don't know. I mean, I don't know that much about the lose.
Well, yeah,
Let's
that's, yeah,
let's come back. Let's come back to
sure.
let's come back to like what's going on now. Let's just keep in this
Okay.
time.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was
No, no, it's
amazing.
okay. No, we'll get Colin
No,
back.
that's a good idea. Yeah, good
Yeah.
idea. Because I
Let's-
know that Gila has to go at like, what was that, 6:30 or something?
I have to go by 6:15. So we have.
Yeah,
All right, we got
I-
like
I
20
have stuff
minutes.
too. So
Yeah.
let's just talk about it seems like things are speeding up. What do you see in terms of, you talk about January 7th and this kind of thing. How do you see this playing out now?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, like in this current moment, we're seeing the drip, drip, drip part of the oncoming flood, which is part of the storm. And we're seeing that, very evidently through the Twitter drops, which there was just another one, I think today or yesterday, talking about how certain, or how Twitter was being used to censor and manipulate a certain narrative.
Don't use the regular words on this one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got it.
That's why I didn't say the
Thank you.
what, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's very evident that the drip, drip, drip portion is occurring. We know it's going to turn to a flood. I think the C before D stands for Christmas before D class. And, I think that it's one of the meanings of it. There's others as well, like the pi phone, like circumference over diameter, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. So, yeah, I mean, we're coming, the Brunson case is definitely a marker. I mean, this is what's going to happen. I guarantee you. And this is why the Supreme Court picked the 6th. All right. The Supreme Court was flipped, fully white hat now. Or maybe not fully, but Chief Justice John Roberts was flipped. All right, that's why we saw Roe versus Wade overturned. That's why we saw.
Was he flipped or was he taken to Gitmo? What do you think?
Well, I think it's the real John Roberts. I think he was just flipped, and I think that they told him he was going to hang unless he got the court into a respectable court again. And I believe that's what happened. I mean, look at what the decisions that were made with Roe versus Wade, the gun case in New York, and the EPA case in West Virginia. That all three of those cases brought power back to the states, and it took the power from the federal government. So that's a foreshadow to show, okay, this is the direction of the court. The court wants to repair this country. In my eyes, the Supreme Court is going to accept the case on the 6th of January. And that is when the mainstream media and the remaining baddies in the media, whether it's a show or it's for real, that's when they're going to turn everything off. Mainstream media is going to shut down. The internet's going to shut down, because if the Supreme Court accepts this case, all it takes is 4 justices, right? And then when they take it to a vote, 5 to go a certain direction with it. So if they take this case, you're going to see all hell break loose. And my prediction is that we see a lot more D class up until that point. And there's going to be some other aspects of it, like you're going to see Russia invade Ukraine again. You're going to see China go for Taiwan. You're going to see Brazil go after Lula. You're going to see Serbia take Kosovo. You're going to see North and South Korea already going at it. North Korea launched 5 drones against South Korea yesterday. And Japan is building up their force, unlike anything they've done recently. In fact, they're violating some World War II treaties with some of the buildup, but no one's following treaties or laws anymore. So what does it matter? But yeah, it's coming, and it's coming soon. In my eyes, let me just say this. If it weren't for certain markers and dates, like what we have with the 6th, I could see this going another year. But because we have these markers, we're obviously coming up to something very major. The Supreme Court is going to have the opportunity to remove 388 members of Congress and bar them from ever holding office again. and also take care of JB and Kamala. So when those members are removed, you've got a very small Congress, and I think this is why this is being done this way. I think that they're basically trimming all the fat, which there's a ton of it on our country's government, and when they have the remaining members left, which is those 100 people that voted to do an investigation after the vote in 2020, that's what you're going to have left for your federal government, and it's going to be much more local after that. So big changes are coming. Actually, another prediction I want to make: watch for JFK Jr. to be revealed on the 17th of January in 2023. I want to make that bold prediction right now.
Why that date?
There is an account on Telegram that I believe is him. And some people may say it's not. I have good reason to believe that it is, using some of my sixth senses, quote unquote, right?
What's the name of that Telegram channel?
I think it's the JFK Red channel. Let me here. You know what? Let me let's see here.
JFK Red.
Yeah, I think it was that the one that was open just recently, and there's not a lot of activity. Here it is. Yeah, JFK Red Awakening. It was
How many
open.
subscribers? How many people are on there?
Only 5,100. So this was created on the 9th of December. And how I found this, there was a Twitter post that was deleted rather quickly. I can't remember the account that dropped it. A very important one dropped it. And they said, the truth of JFK Jr. or whatever it was underneath. But they deleted it so fast. So I'm like, okay, there's got to be something to this. If you look at some of these posts, look at this. Are you ready? The Red Awakening is coming. 17/1 of 23. And then there is a recent post on, it looks like maybe the 4chan or 8kun board. I'm not sure which one this is, but live broadcast January 17th, 2023. A new day, sunlight. In the name of the Lord, we will do and accomplish. Awakened yet? Red Awakening is here. I am the Lord that heals. JFK. Traitors eventually weaken. Natural remedies exist. So I think this is very legit, this particular channel, and I think this might be his only channel. That HS retoucher.
I'll send it to you, Guru.
Colin, I see there's 33,000.
That's the wrong one. That's a different
Not
one.
that one. It's JFK Red Awakening. It's got
Guru, how can I-
5,000.
I'm sending
124.
Oh, you'll send me the link. Okay.
And you could share it on your, I'm going to send it
Yeah.
to my channel, and I could share. Could I share it on your Intel channel, Guru? I don't know how.
Yeah, sure, please.
Okay, let me see.
So that's where I
That's
think
a
we're
great
at
idea.
right now. I mean, we're so close. It's not even funny. I mean, we're less than 2 weeks away from this January 6th date. And think about it, the ceremonial meaning of January 6th. 2 years after the the siege of the Capitol, as the left calls it. No, that is the people's house. It was a protest, and the FBI set up a false flag. And you know what? That's gonna be revealed to the public in mass about what really happened there, and how they had Antifa and BLM dressing up like MAGA people. And there were some MAGA people, don't get me wrong, but a lot of them weren't.
There. Were you there, Colin? I was there.
No, I wasn't there. No.
I was there. I saw
But
from my
watch out,
hotel.
Gila's,
I'm a badass.
That's awesome.
I have video. We had to run into our hotel room that night after the rally because there was all kinds of commotion on the street. Video footage of it. I have some video, my own personal video footage, and they were so ridiculous. They were so easy to spot. They were just stupid.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, I think most of America can see it. I know there's a portion that can't. And unfortunately, my immediate family, they're all in comas still. But you know what? I don't. I don't even go there anymore. I don't go there anymore. You know what? They're going to awaken when they're going to awaken. So,
Suppository. Me
it
and
is
Guru
what
call
it
it a
is.
suppository now. They're not gonna get the red pill. They're
Yeah,
gonna get the red
that's right. That's right. Yeah, because you know what? There's been all this time for those people to get a clue, take a
Get a
hint,
freaking clue.
and they didn't take any.
Not
So, yeah,
one.
right. So there is a
Colin,
suppository
do
coming.
you think
Yeah.
it could be a like a Terran versus like people who are from different, like a racial thing, almost like the real Earthlings just don't get it, and if you have a little more galactic blood in you,
Yes.
that's the
Yes.
theory that I have.
That's correct.
That's why I kind of feel pity. I kind of, when I hear certain people being, hateful towards the Terrans, I feel like, they can't really get it. I mean,
We're not hateful. We're just
That's
frustrated.
right.
no,
That's right. No,
I'm not saying you guys, but I've heard other patriots say,
Oh,
"Oh, that these people, I mean, I don't,
right.
they're doing the best they can. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not saying,
that's
I'm
right.
not singling you out, but should
Yeah,
we?
that's right. Sorry, go ahead. I'll let you
No,
finish.
I mean, how we doing time-wise, Gila?
I have 7 minutes. What can we
Okay.
talk about in 7
So
minutes?
you want
You
it?
guys can continue. You can continue without me. If you-
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Just sort of summarize in the last 7 minutes. Just give us like a kind of a summary of things we need to know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, just to piggyback off of what you said there, that's absolutely the truth. We're actually here because we're part of a program that is meant to change the consciousness of the human race from the inside out, and the only way to do that without violating the Prime Directive and certain Federation law is to do so from the inside out. So incarnating as and anchoring energy, and then raising the vibration, like quite literally. It doesn't matter what any of us do. The fact that we're here means that we're doing our job. Okay. Dolores Cannon was big on that too. Just being here is all we have to do. It's doing the work. It doesn't matter what you do for a living. It doesn't matter what you do on the side. It doesn't, sports you play, books you read, doesn't matter. You're here, you're anchoring higher density energy, and you're doing the job. Now, there are some star seeds here that, I think maybe by now they're probably all awake, at whatever stage in the awakening they are. But there were many that didn't awaken at the time that they were supposed to. But there was enough of us that did, that we were able to push this over the line. We actually won this war back in 2014. And from then on out, it's been us just more or less playing out the remaining moves, finishing the chess game, and we're at that end, the very last move here coming up, and that's what the storm is going to be. I mean, what else can they do when they lose the narrative? The enemy, all they can do then is shut down the media. That's all they have left to do is shut down the internet and shut down the media. Full blackout, right? Blackout necessary. It's coming, guys.
And if they do that, that will give the White Hats an opportunity to finish the job. Yeah,
that's when your EBS comes out. Yes, the EBS will happen after the Dark Hats shut down the internet, and then the White Hats have everything planned from then on out. That is literally the only move that the White Hats are waiting on now, is for the Black Hats to pull the plug, because when they do, the White Hats will have Starlink activated, the QFS activates, everything good that we have coming activates after that dark point, and they need to have a 10-day period, because it has to be a near-death experience in order to drive the memory into the DNA of the human race, so that this never happens again. It has to be a memory that's within the entire collective of humanity.
Yes. Yes.
So that when humanity evolves,
I'm saying about the EBS, it has to be like engraved in stone, in the
massive biblical.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody remembered the Red Sea wherever you were in the world. All the water
everybody knows
parted.
about the splitting the sea.
Right. That's the Red Awakening.
That's what
the
it
Red
is.
Sea.
That's going to be like the starting moment of the new Earth. I think after there's going to be before the EBS and after the EBS.
That's right. Yeah.
But
And
you
Tom-
see it happening before JFK comes back. If he's coming on the 17th,
Yeah. Yeah. So you've got your 7th, and then at the end of that 10-day period is the 17th.
oh,
So
you're
that,
saying the EBS. You're calling so you're calling a lot of things with calling the 17th. You're
yeah,
calling
yeah. The EBS would have to happen on the 6th or 7th, whichever day it is. But yeah, I mean, it would have to, because I mean, when else would you have it go? But yeah, I believe JFK would then reveal himself at the end of that 10-day period, which would be the 17th. So
And that would be the comfort. I think it's going to be such a comfort for the world to see him return. That's going to
yes,
be
it's
sad.
yeah, it'll be a
Al-
uniting
also-
factor.
Also, they talk about the like within 4 hours, they can arrest everyone worldwide.
That's right. Yeah.
Right, Guru. I
Yeah,
love
they've
I
got
love
so much
that.
help. We've
Like The
got
Godfather.
humans here, guys. We've got humans that look like Terran-born humans, but they're not. And they're helping the white hats take care of, the remaining dark hats that are here. I mean, there are pockets of higher density ETs that are, still being cleaned out, although they're no threat. They're stuck. But there are boots on the ground that are humans that were born on other planets and other systems that look just like Terran-born humans. So you could walk right past one, you'd never know.
I love that. I believe that completely.
Yeah, and let me add this. When we have our re-entry into galactic society, it's going to be done through a revealing by they're called the Silosi and the Telosi. They come from the Proxima and Alpha Centauri systems, which are like 4 light years away, and they're actually the closest looking humans to us. And they want to introduce the Terran-born humans to a race of ET that it looks similar, so they don't freak out. Because there are some beings out there that humans, if they saw, they would be extremely, disgusted and scared. And these beings might be completely benevolent, but they just look a certain way. So we have to be able to ease ourselves into the galactic community again, and we do that by the way I just lined out, and that's how it's going to go.
What
So,
sort of
and I would,
what sort of a time frame are you looking at for the galactic
yeah, I would say 2026.
2026?
Yeah, I mean, I think in a more private capacity, we may see something like that in 2025. But there's a major solar event that's coming, and I want to say it's going to happen sometime between 2027 and 2030. It's what people would call the solar flash. A lot of people think it happens in 2025, but I believe it's going to be a little bit later. And the sun does these flashes over and over, but it's just the intensity that changes. And every so often there's a major coronal mass ejection that literally does eject what they call ejecta through plasma coming from the coronal hole stream or sunspot areas that actually do have an effect on the density of the creatures that are living in that system. And what it does is it elevates those that are of the right vibration, and it destroys those that are not. And there are some Draco here. There are some Draco in Orion Nebus here that are trapped, and karmically they have to go through the flash from the negative standpoint. So they're actually here imprisoned, and they have to karmically go through the solar flash that will destroy them. It's just part of their deal, like they've been forced into that because of the horror that they've done so much destruction in the system. It's crazy. So yeah, it's all good. I mean, we've gone through the real dicey part of the waiting game. It's going to get crazier, but it's not going to be crazy for that long. It's going to get really crazy for just a little bit, but we're all ready. I mean, when this thing goes and when it ends, we're the new 1%. When they flip switches on the QFS, we're invested in it. Did you know that only 0.008% of the population is invested in the QFS. And I want to say it's 0.01 that is aware of the revaluation in GCR.
Are you talking about
So-
lobster? Or you're talking about like XRP?
Just the whole thing in general.
The whole
So
thing.
like anybody invested in any of the assets that are going to be, the who's who of the new system, it's like 0.01 or something. And then like people that own, or I'm sorry, 0.008. And then there's 0.01 that are aware of it in full.
You know what,
So
I have a thought about that too. I told you this, thought guru, that it's such a brilliant plan, that it's part of the plan, that the only people with ears for the QFS are the most awakened beings. Meaning I've tried so hard to get other people to understand and to get up. They're just like it's like I'm talking Chinese. So the 1% is going to go to the hands of the most awakened, the most kind-hearted, loving, and we're going to take that money and rebuild a new world, rebuild the humanitarian projects, because where is this money going? From the most evil to the most awakened. And the most awakened only want to do good. We only want to do good. So that's the brilliance. It's built in. Like they couldn't give the money to a better group of people. It's the people who can hear the conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. And it's our very, very major responsibility, but we're the ones that are capable of it, and it's part of our contract being here. We weren't here just to wake people up. We're also here to help manage the new world until the human soul, as a collective, is able to take it from there, and then we can all go home. So
it's a big job. The training wheels. We're like we're the beta testers. We're the ones, in human bodies with human minds, trying to figure out this new system together.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
It's a beautiful thing. We're the real pioneers of it. We're the pioneers of a new planet.
Right. I mean, think about how long we've been waiting. Some people have been waiting longer than we have, like maybe 5, 10, 15, 20. I mean, even just the financial part of it, we've been investing in something that most people think is insane. But we know that it's for real, because it's part of our contract and we've done it before. Okay. It's ingrained in our own DNA, in our own Akashic record.
We've done this on other. You think we've done this on other planets?
Yes, we have. That's why we were chosen, that's why we were the ones picked for this. Out of all the applicants.
I'm going to tell you something that, like, I say to people, even today with my sister who was visiting from LA, I'm like, I would love to set you up a lot. She's like one of the last ones in my family. I'm like, give me your phone so I could set you up a lobster wallet. And her daughter called her father and was like, Mommy's setting up a lobster wallet with you. Like, it scares them.
Yeah.
They think I'm viewed as insane. Even the word lobster, people are like, they're like, she said the word again, and they think I'm insane. But I know and my mark of growth, Colin, is that I know what I know. I don't need anybody's approval. I know what this is. And the fact that you're telling me what did we do? We signed the contract for this. I know that I'm fulfilling something. Yeah. I know that how this feels, and I know what it is without anybody having ever told me.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that's how it is. Yep.
And I don't have the brain that you have, Colin. I don't even
No,
understand.
You do. It's just, everybody has their own way that we contribute.
Right.
Niche. We have a niche.
Even like the group that we are, we are, at some point a collective that operates under the same consciousness. But we all have of course you have the mind. That's why you're here, right? Like, if you didn't, you wouldn't be here. But it's a matter of deciding what's your focus. What do you know what I mean? Like, you have just a different style of delivering. I find that Gila, when you do your videos, you present questions And then you work off of like the rhetoric of the question, and it drives a certain learning experience or thought pattern, in which it gets people thinking about certain things.
Mutic.
And that's like one way. And then Eli, like Eliyahu, right? Like the one that's supposed to preach the word of God. Is that right?
It's
That's
supposed to
right.
announce the coming of Mashiach.
Announce the Messiah. That's right. Right. So look at what you're doing. You're actually fulfilling your name right now.
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome, guys. It's all good things to think about. And, Eli, you've built like a huge following, and you did it like real quick too. I noticed. Like I remember when you were on, it was maybe like a little more than a year ago, and I was watching you on Mel Carmine, and this was back when I think maybe you had like 7,000 followers or something. And it blew up from there. And I think that has a lot to do with, the vibration of your message, and, the people that are part of this community, they find solace in that. And that's where we find our hope, right? Like as we hang on this wall that we're waiting for things to happen, we have to have something to hold on to. So there you go. But yeah, I don't want to keep you too long. I know you got to go there, Gila. So
Thank you. Thanks for coming on. We should do this.
Thanks for letting me in on your intel here. I mean, this is a big favor for me. So maybe we'll do it again. I think people are liking it.
Let's do it again.
We have a lot of people here, so it's quite popular.
Yeah, and like 900. That's a pretty amazing, Guru.
How many?
About 900.
Yeah,
that's cool. Nice. Yeah,
pretty good. Yeah.
I think we should do this again next week. I mean, let's try to do this one more time before the 7th.
We'll do it again. I'll just tag along, man. I'm just
Let's tonight. I have a wedding next Monday night, so maybe next Sunday night.
Whatever.
We'll figure it out.
Maybe earlier in the
Colin,
day.
It's really a pleasure. And like I said, you're my favorite truth sayer. I mean, I really enjoy.
Thanks, man.
Getting to hang with you. So all right. So God bless everyone. We'll see you. I'll see you guys in about like an hour and a half or something. And for the Kabbalah Guru family. And thanks again, Gila and Colin. And it's all good. We got this.
All right. See you guys. Yep. Bye-bye.
God bless.
Bye, Guru.
Bye.